My name's Frank Muller.
I'm Rick Bushell.
Let's see what's something.
Check your
It
notes,
was
Frank.
in the early 70s. I guess I was about 28, 30, something like that.
I was about 32. Right around 30.
I've been back 4 years.
I've been 20 years. I'm still not good at it. Still have all my fingers though.
Practice.
Practice.
Well, I started out just making silhouettes and V-boards for grease hunting. And then when I got more interested in making the, full-size decoys and oversized decoys and hunting the water more, I started making some on my own, and then I got really interested in it, and I went to Bill Hughes for lessons and learned to do the more decorative carvings from him.
I was like you. I started out making silhouettes in the backyard,
Yeah.
and I was still in school. But to make working decoys, I started that after I've been to the decoy show a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And Vernon actually taught me
Okay.
because I started out. I wanted to make 2 pair for my dad for Christmas, and I still have them because he's passed, and they are the ugliest ducks I've ever seen in my life. They wouldn't even make good firewood.
Hunting, my interest in hunting, and I didn't get started waterfowling until probably late 20s, early 30s. And then that's when I started getting interested in making my own decoys.
That's me. The same way you started out making decoys to hunt with,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've always been interested in history. I mean, I like to read.
Yes.
I'd rather read than watch television. And going to the shows, talking to different ones, and that's how I got into it. That's how I met Vernon at the show.
No, it became a hobby. And since I always say when I retire, I'd have the hobby to fall back on, and that's what happened. It's still a hobby. I never went into, thinking I'd make a living out of it.
We did it to satisfy ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I still do it. I mean, if somebody wants you to make something for them, you'll make it for them. But
Yeah. The only thing I've turned down has been dead ducks. There's just something about, I always think about taking a piece of wood and making something come to life out of it.
you want to make that piece of wood dead.
Yeah, I don't want to make something dead out of it.
I've never made them.
I never did either.
I've never made them. I've made fish out of wood,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I've never made dead ducks. I have made flying ducks.
Oh, yeah.
I have made them.
Yeah, flying ducks, and I do a lot of shorebirds, and I've done some owls.
I've never done them yet. I'd like to.
So if it's a bird, I guess I'm a bird brain.
A bird person.
Okay.
Be
I haven't done any songbirds.
No.
Mostly waterfowl.
I think it
Not
keeps the
really
history
sure.
alive.
Yeah, that's part of
I
it.
said that's a lot of it. It keeps the history alive around there.
Yeah.
We make better ones, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah, so something, and I guess that's because I got into a lot of the decorative stuff, and when you do decorative stuff, you want it to be exactly like where it is. And one thing I've noticed with a lot of Haverty Bridge people is canvasbacks. Canvasbacks are divers, and their tails are normally down close to the water, sometimes even in the water. And most of the Cecil County carvers carve the tail more in a downward position, where Haverty Bridge carvers, the tail kind of
Upswept.
flips up,
Yeah.
almost like a puddle duck
Yeah.
tail. You know, so a puddle duck's tail is pretty much up. Diver's tail is pretty much down. I've seen them come swimming up in the water, and all you can see is their back. The whole tail is under the water, and way up on their chest too. You know.
And I think it's most Cecil County ducks have a shelf to
Yes.
put the head on.
Yes.
I mean, Haverty Grace bodies, they're flat. There's no little raised shelf to set a head on. They're just flat. And everybody's in Haverty Grace look the same.
Yeah, I think that's Madison Mitchell.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people.
So many people work in his shop. They just
Yeah.
everybody makes them the same way.
And when they got their own lathe setups, they used his blanks.
Yep.
You know, as a pattern. Well, I think age has a lot to do with it. How well known the carver is or was.
If they're branded.
Yeah.
Some brands make more than others.
And if they're signed by the maker.
Yeah.
Dated, signed, dated, both, you know. Some you find are signed, dated, and branded.
And not necessarily branded with who made them. I mean, branded by what gun club you used them, or in the terms of the market hunters, what sailing yacht they were from for that rig. I mean, like there was the Reckless was one of the better, more well-known ones. And if they're just a certain type of decoy, like Cleveland canvasbacks.
Yes.
Cleveland canvasbacks were nothing special. Nobody's even really sure who made them, but they were a rig of decoys that were supposedly gunned over by Grover Cleveland, the president. Hence the name Cleveland canvasbacks. And I think there's probably, less than a dozen in existence?
Is it that few?
Yes, I think it's that few.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So, what would you call it? Availability.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got a lot to do with it. We go to the shows, we see it. You can have two ducks sitting there side by side, look exactly alike. This one's $125. This one's $1,250.
Hopefully there's a resurgence in it. I won't say that for sure, but I've seen more
new Carvers.
activity.
Yeah.
Activity in the last few years, because it was really at its peak in the 80s.
Yeah, I would say
early 90s.
Late 70s to early 90s, about the 10 to 15 year span.
And then
then
at that time, if you were into it and you wanted to, within 5 or 6 hours drive, you could go to the show every weekend. There was that many decoy shows going on.
Yep.
You know.
And packed.
Yes.
Packed shows.
Yeah. And then we kind of went downhill from there.
I think we've seen it, just in our show.
Yes.
The past, if you look back 10 years ago, there was maybe 15, 20 vendors.
Mm-hmm.
at some of the shows, and the last two years, I think our first year we were at like 30 vendors. Last year we were at like 36, or no, 34. This year we put out to 40, and I mean the interest is coming back, and there's younger guys getting into it. I mean,
Yeah, that's
fellows like Rich Moretz from over in Harford County. I mean, they're younger guys. I mean, and they're making. I mean, they're
Mhm.
selling ducks. I wouldn't say they're making a living at it, but they're selling ducks.
Right. And there's always the people that are interested in history.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
always have history buffs.
Yep.
You know, so when you have decoys and things like you have in the museum here, not necessarily all decoys and hunting, but all water-related
Mhm.
subjects that went on in this area at one time. You
Yep.
know, and people are interested in that.
And then there's that select group that goes in to buy them to resell them.
Yes.
And I mean, maybe they'll go to an auction and see one or two ducks that they like, that they would like to have, but they'll buy 5 or 6 if they're in a group. And then turn around and turn those 5 or 6 over that they didn't want.
Mm-hmm. Well, my personal experience is I showed both my sons, and they took an interest in it for a while, but neither one of them do it now. So I don't know how it's going in other families, but and even grandson, I have a grandson that he actually won a couple of winnings with birds I helped him make, but he doesn't fool with it all anymore right now. He may get back to it. I don't know. I'm not
I had
sure.
girls.
Well, there's some
Yeah,
pretty
now, and honest to God, my youngest, she actually, I put it together for her and everything, but she painted it, and she still has it.
Yeah.
And my grandson, he loves coming down here. And as far as working with woods, like he'll make birdhouses, whatever. He loves to get. He's a boy. He likes to get dirty. So, and he likes to hunt. So hopefully,
Yeah, and I think part of it too is what runs in the family.
Yeah.
I can go back to my grandfather all the way down to my grandson. Everybody liked to work with wood. You know,
Mhm.
and it's just something I think that not necessarily decoys. I think I was the first one to start making decoys. With my father, grandfather, uncles, all were into some type of woodworking, either cabinet making or general carpentry or whatever, you know.
my great grandfather worked on DuPont farms. So naturally, they had farms on the water.
Sure.
He was a farm manager. You hunted
Yep.
because it was there. My grandfather, he grew up on a farm. He hunted. My uncle, same thing. My dad did more small game hunting. I mean, he got into duck and goose hunting a little later in life when
Mhm.
me and my brother got into it.